Welcome and thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. As many of us approach midlife, we find that when we want to make changes in our lives, we want to do this because perhaps we've found the old ways of doing things just didn't serve us in a way that produced the kind of results we were hoping for. But as we try to do affirmations and all the many things that are available out there to make those changes, we still find ourselves in a conundrum of doing the same things over and over with the same results repeating themselves. Oh, what to do, one asks. Well, perhaps we've got to dig a little bit deeper and try something a little bit different. Several years ago, we had a marvelous guest on our program who presented something known as Psych-K. And this is where we can get deeper into the subconscious beliefs that are really driving the car down the street, more than our conscious beliefs or even our conscious processes seem to be. I'd like to welcome to the Beyond 50 radio program today our guest, Rita Simon, as we talk about Psych-K and how we can change our subconscious beliefs and perhaps get those desired results that we're yearning for. Rita, it's been a while. How have you been?
I'm doing great, Dan. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I think over sixth time. It's maybe my seventh time here.
Seventh time, yeah, at least. But it's been quite a while. How have things been going? And you're still doing this. And what have things been like?
Oh my God, I have been living an awesome life. Using Psych-K process, I've been able to totally redo my belief system. Release the old ones that didn't serve me and install the new ones, and it's day and night difference, in my life. I'm so ecstatic.
Now, is it really that easy to be able to take out old programs and install new ones? I mean, some of these things have been in there for quite a long time.
It's very easy, actually, It's not like it doesn't take time, but it doesn't take that long. Depending what you want to work on. It's just like a car, want to work on one part of the car and then the next one kind of thing. I did not evolve like overnight, but I picked different areas of my life and then began to work on it, and then looked into my old belief system, through muscle testing, kinesiology, see what may be causing me this block or why I'm stuck, and then change those beliefs, that were causing the problem. Mm-hmm. So that's how I evolved over time,
Now tell us about Psych-K. What is it and how does it work?
Psych-K is a process where, we use kinesiology to reach the subconscious mind and then identify beliefs that are the reasons why people may be struggling in life, and then using this technique, which is the whole brain integration process, change those beliefs. And then when we do action toward our goal, we see the results now, because now we created an alignment between our conscious mind that actually we operate maybe 5 to 10% of the time using the conscious mind, and 90 to 95% of the time our subconscious mind is actually automatically generating these thoughts and feelings, the behaviors, and our decisions. So once we create the alignment between what we want and what we can have between the subconscious and subconscious mind, we see the results.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you find that there are common beliefs in people when they say that they want something and for whatever reason they just don't ever seem to get it?
Could be many reasons. It's not like, it's not no common belief,
Uh-huh.
Maybe in some situations, each person may have, the same problem for a different reason, For example, my specialty is addictions treatment. So we see people, with addictions problems, having different issues, in the childhood that led them to drink and use drugs,
Mm-hmm.
So it's not possible for us to do a generic treatment for everybody, because we are treating the effect, not the healing the cause.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's pretty fascinating that you help treat people with addictions and that you have actually implemented this tool, and from my understanding, with great success. That's quite different from the common way that typically is out there for people to be able to, let's say, quit using alcohol, quit using drugs, whatever the addiction may be, and it seems to be more permanent, as though the person feels like, I feel I just don't want this or want to do this anymore. That's quite astounding.
Yeah, because what happens is that the reason why they use, that reason is already not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like holding on to past traumas, they resolved it, and the brain is generating the right chemistry they need to feel good, and the vibration, now they have positive emotions, thoughts, going through their mind, so that generates the positive vibration. So when you're happy, you don't look for things to be happy. You only look for things when you are not happy, because you want to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not focusing on making them to stop drinking. I'm focusing on why they drink in the first place, why they abuse drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Because those, even they stop drinking and using and don't address those issues, the life will be untransformed. And we see many people going through dry drunk syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
They haven't drank in a long, long time, but the attitude, is still the same.
Kind of the same reason that they were doing it in the first place, in other words.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now tell us, when you come to make these changes, are they generally permanent?
Yes. It's like, updating the belief system. If you have a computer, for example, and it says, okay, new updates are available, and you just install the new updates. So they replace the old ones. So, and then next time around, another set of new updates available, update those. Psych-K, it does exactly the same thing. For example, you may balance yourself for, making 5,000 rupees or dollars. Sorry, I just came from India. I'm talking in rupees. $5,000 a month, and you're pretty comfortable and you're very happy. And now you address the reasons why you were not able to make money anyway. So now your consciousness is growing. You're having prosperity consciousness. So now you want to make more money. So you can update your, belief system, saying that, it's safe for me to have more money, or I can have more money, and it's okay. It's easy. And then you can update that goal. Same thing with like addictions, updating goals from just being clean and sober to now that you're clean and sober. You update your goal to, what you want to do now that you're clean and sober, So it just keep updating, upgrading basically. How you have a house and you want to work on one area, you can let me work on the kitchen, let me work in the bathroom, let me have the granite. And so just like that, we just keep adding on, keep, program.
Now, it's pretty interesting because a lot of times people like to make leaps and bounds. For instance, when we talk about how there are a lot of people that want to improve their financial situation and they want to take a leap from where they are to becoming multimillionaires. And what you're talking about here, for instance, is you're talking about a little change here and a little change here, but all those little changes equal a snowball that becomes quite gigantic over time. And we're not talking about a long period of time, but we're talking over time. I mean, after all, it took you time to get to where you are in the first place. And it's quite astounding to think that you can do those little things here and there to make giant leaps. Is that typically what you see in people?
I'm trying to understand your question.
Well, the thing is, for instance, okay, let's say that a lot of people who decide they want to, again, change their financial situation. They perhaps could be somebody who's a minimum wage earner. What you typically find yourself doing, especially if you don't manage your money very well, is you'll earn money, you'll probably spend a bunch of it, and then you'll negotiate all of the bills that you didn't pay for because you were too busy out there trying to find ways to be happy with the money that you had. Then you think, well, if I could only win the lottery. So they go out and they buy a ticket, and let's say they do win. And we've heard stories of people who have won lotteries, quite a bit of money, and a few years later, they have nothing left. And what you're talking about here is, instead of taking that leap, that you take a look at doing those little adjustments here and there so they approach that level instead of leaping to it. So that way they're able to be in a situation to actually manage and control things a little bit better.
That's right. We need to take a leap and our consciousness, expanding our consciousness. That's why when people are able to have what they want and they haven't adjusted the consciousness, they still come from a poverty place, or they still have some compulsive habits, they're going to lose it all, The other thing is that why people want to be rich. If you want to be rich because so that you can have a new house, it can pay your bills on time, okay, so that's okay. But some people want to be wealthy because, they want to be like Bill Gates. They want to make a lot of money. So you want to ask them why they want to make a lot of money. There could be two scenarios. One could be like, I grew up so poor, I want to rule the world, I want to be the richest person. Other reason, so they didn't get recognition as a child. They lacked money. So those are the issues that need to be addressed. So they're becoming Bill Gates or whatever they want to become. It's not going to solve the problem. The source of the problem is there. Or the other scenario is that, they have some problem with, they were controlled, and now they want to become powerful, and they think that if I have a lot of money, I'll be powerful, So why you want what you want, If you're excited about what you want, it is more spiritual alignment, what you want. Then you're more likely to have what you want. But not like I want to buy a car so I can make my neighbor feel jealous. So your vibration is going toward making the neighbor jealous, not like allowing yourself to have a nice car so you can enjoy it, go on a road trip or have fun with your family. Those are the things, Over time I figure it out, that, we need to ask people questions, why you want to stay clean and sober, Or my wife will leave me, Or my husband will leave me, And then what? What if you stay clean and sober and they still leave you, then what, So we need to go deeper and find out that, what is that, you're more excited about achieving a goal when it's more personalized. It's for you, Like I want to attract a lot of money so I can travel in the world easily, I want to stay clean and sober so I can enjoy a perfect health and I can go hiking and do things that I'm not able to do because I wake up with a hangover or, so there has to be more exciting reasons. It's like telling a child, let's go get grocery shopping. And the child says, no, what would I do there? If you say, let's go grocery shopping and then I'll take you to this toy store. Oh, yeah, let's go. So you have to make it exciting for the little child, the subconscious mind, and that who wants to have fun. If you put the fun component in what you want to achieve, you just can't wait to get there. So there's so many things, that we need to take a leap on, and changing our consciousness. That's the main one, expanding it.
Now, I know many times people, when they decide that there is a goal or particular goals that they want to achieve, that you tend to hear, well, you want to visualize it, and then another thing is affirmations. What are your thoughts about affirmations, and are they effective?
If we are talking about the conscious beliefs, affirmations to work, but we are talking about the subconscious beliefs. So a simple affirmation, I deserve to be wealthy, is not going to work, because even if it works, for example, and you allow money into your life, but why you didn't have the money in the first place, you don't change that. You're going to lose it all anyway. So on one hand, if I'm saying I deserve to be wealthy, but I saw a lot of struggle growing up, and I saw how hard it was to have money, in my family. Or I was programmed like money is the root of all problems, Don't be greedy, money is not everything, So we have to address those issues. And now addictions, when people see that, disease is incurable, you'll always be a recovering person, you can never totally heal, you're powerless, you're helpless, So that, changing all that, it's what is important,
even the same way when it comes to relationships. You can probably feel the same way because a lot of the habits and things that we learn, we actually learn from the people who brought us into this world, right?
Yeah, I've been married to my husband for almost 27 years now. So for 6 months, we're like, wow, I was in heaven. And then slowly, I wasn't feeling good, because I attracted somebody like my dad, nice guy, But like as a child, I did not like, the way my father told me how to do or not to do, blunt way. And so there were a lot of issues that I had unresolved. And I perceived everything from that place. So my husband still talks to me that way, but I don't perceive it that way at all because it's not. It doesn't have the charge there,
Mm-hmm.
So ever since I used Psych-K and began to address my old perceptions and old consciousness and all these issues, from my childhood, everything changed, So relationships like what I saw between my parents, my relations were exactly the same until I changed that consciousness. That's like the best relationship,
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to leave people to feel good because that's very easy, You say, well, it's not a good one, Okay, fine, I'm fine. This is my third relationship. So I knew by the time that, there's something in me that needs to be changed because there's no way I can find the best person in my life. You have to become the best to attract the best.
Right.
You attract who you are, So relationships are like people go to marriage counseling and they talk about their flaws and each person talks about the flaws and the problem. But nobody addresses the subconscious mind, the root cause, There's a message in each problem that we have, we face in life, whether it's a money problem, addiction problem, relationship problem, or any mental health issues. There's a message. We're missing the message big time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm kind of curious how Psych-K, if in fact it is, different from, let's say, hypnotherapy.
One important feature of Psych-K is the permission protocol.
Mm-hmm.
We do not change anything until we get permission from the superconscious mind and commitment from the subconscious mind. Who am I to decide what my client should change? Okay, I may come up with a statement, but I still need permission from their superconscious mind via muscle testing to make sure that it's safe for them to change this, It won't hurt them. So, and then we are rewriting. Hypnotherapy is clearing the old, but it's like kicking the old neighbor out, and then not put the new one there, and then the house is empty, So other people will say, "Oh, nobody's living in the house. Let me just go there and live." So it doesn't clear to a point where you stop interacting because you haven't put another program there to interact from. Psych-K rewrites new programs, not just deletes the old, but it actually transforms the old into the new.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference.
Okay, so you talk about asking permission from the superconsciousness. Tell us what that is.
What happens is that we use muscle testing. Suppose, I'll give an example. I had a client, she came to me and she wanted to make more money. She started a business and she wanted to prosper. So we checked with the subconscious mind to see what her beliefs are and I deserve to prosper in life, or I can easily prosper in life. And then we checked, it was, she didn't have the belief in the subconscious mind. And then we asked the permission from the superconscious mind to make sure that it's safe for her to have this belief now. And we got the weak muscle testing response, which means like it wasn't safe. So I asked her that, is there something else going on in your life, that is more important? I said, I'm not getting permission. She said, oh, I have cancer. Doctor gave me 6 months to live. So you can imagine that how she thought that if she has a lot of money, she'll be fine. But, where she was at the verge of you know, dying,
Mm-hmm.
And so we worked on, like, I deserve to be healthy and live long life. We got permission toward that, and then we ended up working on her health issues. And then she got total freedom from when she was able to find the root cause of, why, her immune system was down to a point where she attracted this illness and reached this point and cleared that program. And she was able to, in a few months, regain her health and decided not to pursue the business and went back to her regular job that was, more relaxing for her than causing stress.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like going into business with a situation like a sickness would have been a good idea. It might have pushed her over the edge.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've just said a couple of different times about muscle testing. What exactly is that, and how is that used in this process?
Muscle testing, because subconscious mind controls the motor movements, so muscle testing is a way to basically, communicate with the subconscious mind. We have the person extend. There are many ways to do muscle testing. Self-muscle testing, I'll tell you how I use with my clients. They extend their arm, right or left, parallel to the floor, and we have them look up and chin down, and then we ask them to say their favorite affirmation. They think, okay, so it's something you really believe. Yeah, I am a wonderful person. And then what we do, we press the arm. If it is true, the arm will stay. If it is not true, the arm will drop.
Ah.
And that means the subconscious mind can't file the files, oh no, I never heard that I'm a wonderful person. So whenever there's a conflict or stress, there won't be, the muscle won't be that strong to hold on and stay there, The electrical signals will be weak, the arm will drop. So many ways to do muscle testing. People can actually go on YouTube and learn how to do self-muscle testing, and before spending a lot of money and try to hire a guru or some prosperity coach to find out that if I hold the belief that I deserve to be wealthy, or money is good to have, because those are the things that need to change. There's no guru that can, teach them anything that will, make them do things. If people's preaching and taking these workshops and learning alone would change people's lives, What do you think? We have more programs coming up, drug and alcohol treatment programs, and more people using it. There should be less, but no, there's more need.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are helping them at a surface level. We're not helping them at a deeper level where they need to look into the root cause. And nobody uses muscle testing or to communicate with the subconscious mind. So there are a lot of things that are missing from the current system, the current paradigm, whether it's helping people with addictions or prosperity, relationships, or any other problem. Looking into the root cause is the key.
It's also very exciting what you're talking about. I know that I remember having Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is author of the best-selling book, The Biology of Belief, and he talks about how we tend to take memories and beliefs and they get remembered or imprinted on a cellular level. That being said, I remember in the back of the book he began talking about Psych-K and how he was fascinated in this process because he had seen such immediate change. We're talking within minutes. That being said, does that actually help to reset a lot of those cellular memories in a way that they don't resurface again so that this becomes a more permanent change?
Definitely. Because, what we are doing is basically, if you see a person with cancer and their family member had a cancer, for example, or addiction, whatever problem is, there are certain things about their personality type same, the emotion same. So what is that? The emotional DNA, that is still there from generations, So cells respond to, the internal and the signals, So if you are thinking negatively, subconsciously we not be aware of it. We're talking positive all the time. That doesn't mean that we are positive. If we are not seeing the results, we're talking positive. That means we are just talking positive. The subconscious mind is programmed, in a different way. So when we change this, the way people think, feel, and believe, and they don't think that anymore that I had a family history of all kinds of problems, cancer or addictions or bipolar or whatever it is, So I will have it. You can create your own health by creating a new set of beliefs, changing your perceptions, rewriting programs that I can create a perfect health for myself. I can prove everybody wrong, instead of saying that addiction is an incurable disease. And we're not telling people to just stop drinking. We are just, when they transform their lives, they're like doing different things now, It's amazing that how, just addressing the effect only, people pick up some other bad habit, because they haven't addressed the root cause. So all these, the consciousness, basically, changing the consciousness is the key. If you change your consciousness, people are told that, oh, you're just like your dad or mom, not just in looks, but also how you behave. So if your parents had certain illnesses and you have genetic predispositions to that, you'll like to believe that, yes, I'm going to get it too. But if you work on your personality type, your consciousness, and change that, and you'll be surprised to see that how, the genes don't have a switch to turn themselves on and off, Changing your consciousness actually allows your body to come back, restore itself to its natural state. Many people have written things about mind-body connection. Bruce Lipton has done a lot of work on it. Watching some videos, for people on YouTube on Bruce Lipton would be a great idea. Or buying his books, The Biology of Belief. Or if they're having a relationship problem, The Honeymoon Effect, an excellent book.
Mm-hmm.
It'll give people knowledge about, what's going on, what may be the problem, what may be the real problem, And if you don't address that, you may be living with each other for the rest of your life, not addressing your issues, It won't be same,
Mm-hmm. This is also fascinating what you're presenting here, and it's interesting when you bring up, group consciousness when it comes to beliefs. For instance, earlier you addressed the ideal that, here's someone that may be taking on a sickness of cancer when they bought into the belief, well, my family has a history of it. And what was fascinating about Bruce Lipton's book, In the Biology of Belief, he says, well, biologically speaking, that's really not true, that we have a way of adapting and changing these things almost immediately. And one example I remember that I had given one time is, take a look at, let's say that you live in sunny Southern California for most of your life, okay? So you're used to running around in tank tops and shorts and, 75-degree weather every single day, and so you've adapted to that, and then you decide you're going to, let's say, move to Canada. Well, we all know that Canada in the summertime is probably beautiful, but by the time the fall and the winter comes, it's going to drop significantly compared to what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
But over the course of 6 months or a year or perhaps 2 years, you're going to start running around in tank tops in 55-degree weather. Now, that's 20 degrees less than what you were used to.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's that cellular adaptation immediately.
Mm-hmm.
When you realize something like this, that we have this amazing body and this amazing mind to be able to do this, it stands to reason that we shouldn't be buying into things that, A, we don't want anymore, and B, believing in the things that we do want, and C, that it's all very possible.
Yeah, people are not told that, they are powerful,
Mm-hmm.
They can do anything, Think about addiction field, how you go to Alcoholic Anonymous meetings, What do they tell you? The 12 steps, you're powerless,
Right.
So, you're helpless. This disease is incurable. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. What are your chances of healing? If you're programmed that, very few people succeed, And so, even if their programs are able to help you stay clean and sober for a long time, but your overall life quality hasn't improved, because you still harbor the same consciousness. So it can become a curse, Some people feel miserable not drinking because why they were drinking, that issue is not resolved. There's a lot of struggle going on, So now relationship, for example, when people are stuck in relationships, like we call it codependent relationship, they know that's not good for me, they still stay in that relationship because they have some incredible fear messages, and fear labels and self-labels, And most people, pick look-alike partners, like their parents. So when we use this work, we go back to the core level and build their self-esteem, their self-confidence, eliminate abandonment issues. That goes back to childhood, that they were shamed and mommy and daddy said, go to your room, you keep doing that, I won't like you, and then they have this perception of like, I'm not a good girl or good boy, and that gets locked in for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
When you have those kind of beliefs about yourself, and those distorted definitions of self and definitions of relationships, unless you eliminate these issues of abandonment, fear, then and only then you can select partners, who are healthy and avoid partners who are toxic. So, who would address these things, When you're trying to go to a marriage counselor and then they just ask, okay, tell me what is your problem, what's going on, what he said, what she said, But why they said whatever, who's going to address that, Because that's important. Same thing with addiction also. There's a lot of trauma. Research proves that, childhood trauma plays a big role in, how we experience life, how we attract, how we develop bad habits, drinking, drug use, and it turns into addiction, or getting into wrong relationships, or not spending money wisely. So all these things, do need to be addressed. It's really, really important. That I hope that, people get this message and learn the work, because otherwise we are really not doing much therapy with these people.
Mm-hmm. You know what I find fascinating when we take a look at, for instance, let's say society beliefs. There was a really interesting one that I came across a couple of years back. Now, we have all heard that at one time it was believed that the world was flat, okay? And they usually say something to the effect, then Christopher Columbus went out there and discovered, no, the world was round, okay?
That's true.
Okay, now here's what's funny about that belief, that statement, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, so we would stretch back to, what is that, about the 1400s, okay? That up until the 1400s, allegedly, people of the world believed the world was flat, okay?
Yes.
Now here's what's funny about that. What makes this funny is, it was actually around the late 1800s the founder of Cornell University created a book of history. Mm-hmm. And that's when that was very first asserted. That we believe the world was flat was asserted by this founder of Cornell University in the late 1800s. Now that's 400 years after Christopher Columbus allegedly went out there and said, hey guys, you were wrong. The world is round. Now the funny thing about it is you go back thousands of years, and the Greeks could pinpoint that the world was round to the accuracy of within 1 mile.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, here's this belief that's just barely over 100 or so odd years, but we bought into this as though it's been there forever.
Yeah, that's true. So, you went and looked into some information.
Right.
Other people were interested, wanted to know the history, and but unfortunately, our psychotherapist friends, who just keep doing the same thing over and over, they're not looking. They're looking for courses for continuing education hours, so they can maintain their license. That has nothing to. I'm required to do 20 education hours. I haven't taken any of the workshops since Psych-K because there's no need for it. But I do take these courses every 2 years, and if I look at the courses, I tell you what. I recently took to recertify as addictions counselor level 3, you know, like some like reducing and treating tobacco use. But like reducing, why reduce? Why don't we find methods that can really help them get total freedom? Like drug abuse among Hispanics. Okay, fine. We can just like learn from that. But then who's going to help them? So just like trauma. Now they're like, okay, yes, trauma plays a big role in in one's becoming alcoholic or having mental health issues. Okay, fine. They quote all kinds of research, but then who's going to heal the trauma? Who's going to treat the trauma?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that are really missing. We keep doing research on things, but don't fix the problem.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this question because it's so prevalent out there in the message, because you have brought up addictions through the program here, and especially, for instance, alcoholism. Okay. Mm-hmm. Alcoholism is a disease, so they say out there. They advertise this. It's in the literature. It's everywhere. Somebody decided this is a disease. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I wrote a whole full article on this as the disease part. Well, they call it disease. Everything is a disease, considered disease. Yes, it's showing symptoms. It has a pattern, but the real disease is, how the soul was hurt, for many, many lifetimes, That's the problem, that we don't address, what caused the effect that shows up as a disease. We can just wash our hands saying that, it's an incurable disease,
Mm-hmm.
But it's not true. It's not true at all, And people can argue with me, but the thing is that I won't participate in the argument. I just tell them I'm not here to prove you right or wrong.
Right.
I'm here to share with you what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a disease. It causes things to happen. Drinking causes things to happen. It causes people to have all kinds of health issues. But to address why the person chose drugs and alcohol, if you address those issues and the brain generates the natural chemistry to feel good, they're coming from a different consciousness. They're not blaming their parents for anything. They understand that their parents did what they knew the best. They have totally forgiven them. They have changed their self-labels of like, I'm a good person. My birth was a divine plan. I'm an important person of the divine plan. And they're changing those things. They can see themselves from a different place, an important part of the universe. And now they are feeling empowered and feel good. They don't need those things because they already feel good. So, just by not drinking and not using drugs, people cannot feel good to a point where they begin to change aspects of their life, So I'm talking about they feel good at one level, but because why they drank, if you don't address that issue, then they're going to pick some other habit because they're used to creating happiness from outside in, not inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, a disease concept is one way for people to wash their hands and say, yeah, we did our best with this client. I would say that we are creating criminals. You know why? Because if we address these issues at a deeper level, then they won't have a need to kill themselves or kill other people. We can just say, so-and-so did this mass murder because they had a terrible childhood. So hello, what are we doing about it? Okay? As professionals, what are we doing? We take ton of money from the county and the state, for the programs. I'm not taking even a single penny from them because I said my source is the universe. If I'm doing the right things for the right reasons, money will come to me.
Mm-hmm.
8 years ago, I reached a point where I didn't see results from psychotherapy. I tried to incorporate EMDR and other healing methods, through other professionals. The results improved 20%. but still not satisfactory. And so that's the time when I almost decided in 2005, end of 2005, I declared that I don't want to do this anymore. I couldn't watch people do everything I told them to do 90 AA meetings in 90 days and have a sponsor, and they were still relapsing. And then I'm sending them back to jail because they failed to comply with the program. And there are many people committing suicides, overdoses, I said to myself, there's something missing from here. I kept saying that there's something missing from here. And before I decided to totally stop the program, I said to the Divine Source, if you can find me a better method, I'll stay, otherwise I'm out of here. The same night, I dreamt that I was traveling in the world and taking pictures with a bunch of people and having fun. I'm saying, that's interesting. And then I opened my emails, and there was a message for this book, from Amazon. And I said, biology of belief, What could be the biology of belief, And then I ordered the book because I found the title interesting. And when I got the book, toward the end of the book, how Dr. Bruce Lipton explains about the mind and why we are stuck in life and what needs to happen, and then how to make that happen through Psych-K, because he was able to benefit personally from Psych-K. That caught my attention, and I just couldn't wait to go and take the training. Mm-hmm. And so I took my first training, in 2006 in Seattle, and I couldn't believe. I was quite skeptical about it, Then I took another training 2 weeks later in Vancouver, BC. It's still skeptical. And then went to Calgary because I had friends. So I thought, okay, I'll just go there, meet them, and take another training. And then I took another training, in California. And somehow, if you don't like something, you try one time, you don't do it again. I couldn't get my mind off that, But I didn't know that the divine plan was for me to use this and become an instructor and share with the other professionals. So I became instructor in 2007 in the hope that I will be able to teach general population and my peers, 95% of the work that I've taught to general population, only 5% to professionals worldwide. I've traveled in 17 states. I have taught in my city many times here, Portland, Oregon. I recently came back from India. People were thirsty for the work, they won't let me come back here, I kept me so busy, with the workshops and all, because they had tried everything and they're still struggling. Mm-hmm. And I was so happy that, that people are open to this work and they want to heal. But the professionals, who learned it for them, and they thought, I'm learning for other people, and they're not addressing their own issues at all. Some of them are coming to me telling me that you were right about that. I need to heal myself first. When would I heal? When I track people who are healers from different modalities, and they say, I'm a healer. And I say, okay, so you're here, so what can I help you with? They say, well, I have a financial problem. So I tell them, God doesn't have financial problem. He's a healer, So as long as we have something going on, in our life, we cannot say I'm a healer. Even God doesn't say I'm a healer, So I think having God's consciousness, is the only way, which is like God's consciousness, universe's consciousness, or consciousness of evolving person who looks at the problem and say, we'll see what I can do. Oh my God, what do I do about it, Oh my God, I relapsed, Oh, find out why you relapsed. What's going on? Let's take relapse as an opportunity for further growth. Not like beat you up, So I was so glad that I was able to learn this work, use this work, and I still wish to teach this work to other professional friends and encourage them to learn. Because, if they keep doing what they've been doing, we keep getting the same results what we have been getting. Mm-hmm. And it's proving that we are.
Mm-hmm. Now, I understand that you have co-authored 2 books. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I co-authored 2 books. The first one was The Thought That Changed My Life Forever, and I was at a point, in my life where I was married to an alcoholic, and I didn't know how to get out of that relationship. So I just surrendered to the divine source, and I said, I don't know. I don't know. I tried everything. It's not working, and I surrendered. I said, please show me the path and show me the way, and I will follow that. And then the path was shown to me, and that had me, you know, change scenarios in my life, and also I became more faithful in the power, the higher power, and then whatever the path was shown, I persistently followed that. So that chapter is about, and that book is about that. And then the second book, thank God, I'm an empowered woman, and I got most of my messages, what I need to work on basically by being in that marriage. It was like the marriage, 6.5 years with an alcoholic, turned out to be more like a printout of issues that I carried before I got into that marriage. And because of those issues that I got into that relationship, and so I was able to address all those issues with Psych-K. I'm impressed with this work, not because I can quote you how many people have benefited. People can Google my name and find so many things and testimonials on YouTube. But if I hadn't worked on myself, it would have been possible for me to help my clients at that level. So I would say that this process has totally evolved me, totally. And I have the tool, and I can use it every day in my daily life, And that's why I'm so impressed with this work. I mean, I used to take workshops all the time, but now there's no need for me to take workshops other than if I have to maintain my continuing education hours. I would highly, highly recommend to people to please look into this process and see if there's something that you have that is still unresolved. I have a documentary coming out soon. It's called The Business of Disease, and in that movie we have Amit Goswami, we have Bruce Lipton, and myself, and we are talking about the concept of like how we think everything is a disease and try to treat it with this and that, and I believe this big part of transforming their lives. So I feel so honored that I raised my consciousness to a point where I can stand with Dr. Bruce Lipton and other renowned people in the world who respect me so much and support me, and that's a great honor for me. But I'm not doing for that. I'm just doing because I enjoy my life every day.
Right.
Sometimes people ask me that, is this for real? You're happy, How can somebody be happy all the time, It's a state of mind you create that tells you that my happiness comes first, no matter what it is, When you have that state of mind and you look at problems from a place of like, okay, I can solve it, it's possible, and there's a message, let me see what this problem is bringing to me, the message, and get the message, and you're so thrilled. I'm glad that problem showed up. I'm glad I married an alcoholic. So that's why I wrote the chapter, thank God, in the book, thank God I'm married an alcoholic. And now you think, what good came out of it, You cannot blame everything on other people. Why you track them? You are part of the problem too. But people think they're victims and this other person. I mean, if you marry somebody and that is not treating you well, then how long you should stay there? Give them 1, 2, 3 chances. You stay there for years and keep blaming, keep complaining. Because you like that abuse. You don't believe you deserve any better relationship. You don't believe you deserve to be with a better person because you have these fears in you that won't let you, leave the person. You say, nobody like me, so it's better to stay with this loser. But you are the loser because you are selling your soul for it. You have fears. You have all these messages from your childhood that you're not addressing. So all these things that people really need to look into it for themselves. Why I became a therapist was because I couldn't save my first husband who committed suicide as a result of his addiction. So now I'm out there trying to save the world not realizing that how my life was impacted by his drinking and abuse, 6.5 years. And that was missing from my life. Now I do the same work, helping people with better tools, with a better consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I'm fully qualified to help people because I am not helping them at a surface level. I'm helping them at a subconscious level and helping them address. I'm coming from a place of empowerment to help people get there. I'm not coming from a place of recognition and need to feel good and people say, oh, you're a wonderful therapist. I mean, I acknowledge this greatness in me, acknowledge my compassion, my passion, my dedication, my commitment to make a difference in the world. After having made a difference in my life, I'm able to help people even better.
Now tell me, Rita, do people have to be there in front of you to affect this process, or is this something that's able to be done over the phone or on Skype? Tell us about that.
No, it works really good. Even on Skype, 70% of my people are on Skype.
Wow.
And phone. So I work with them, and in person, it's same. We are just basically we're all one energy. I'm able to surrogate them. Psych-K teaches how to do that, and then work with them, and they get the same results. I was the one who was skeptical when I worked with one person first time. I was pretty skeptical about it. I said, how can this work long distance? But my first client that I worked 7 years ago, she had cancer and she was dying in 6 months to a year. And she has been living a wonderful life since then.
Mm.
And so I became a believer. I said, oh my God, this does work. And so I mostly see people in my office in Troutdale near Portland. I see them in person because they are court mandated to have a drunk driving tickets and they have to come in person. So I see them and also see some people who are locals. They come see me personally. Sometimes people want to take workshops since I'm an internationally certified psych instructor, so they think I take my workshop and then begin to heal my life. There's some truth in it, but not all the truth in it because you can learn, but you cannot become an expert mechanic, until you have somebody work with you, and there are more pieces to it. So people can learn workshops, and help other people help themselves, but to do more deeper work, it's always nice. When I became instructor, I hired another instructor to work with me, so I knew that I took the workshop, I'm able to change some habits, but there's some deeper things like I had a thyroid problem for a long time. I worked with an instructor and found the message, and I've been free of all kinds of health issues since then. Over 7 years now.
Now, Rita,
those are the things.
I was going to ask, how do people find out about you? Do you have a website?
I have a website, ritasoman.com, ritasoman.com, and they can go on the website. They can Google me, Rita Soman, and a lot of information they can find and lead them to my website. And also they can go to beliefmantra.com because that still lands on the same page, ritasoman.com. And they can find out more about what Psych-K has to offer and how they can work with me. And if people want to arrange workshops, or they want to come to one of my workshops, I'm going back to India in May again, and I'm teaching workshop in April in Seattle, Washington, so people can learn about that and then create their own workshop they wish to do. I now offer 20 continuing education hours to therapists, They're required 40 hours, 40 CEUs every 2 years. They can get 20 CEUs just with this 3-day workshop. I added one extra day because I wanted people to be able to address their issues, while they are right there. So I added one extra day. So I want them to benefit from this work and become a believer, so they know they have something, handy tool they can use anytime, they have a problem. They can have it for the rest of their life. So it's not a substitute for sessions, or it's not something like you can just do sessions and then it's good to have this workshop, also both. And so they can go on my website and learn more about it. Write to me. I blog many articles. So I would say that people who are listening to this interview, they're very, very lucky. Because when I heard about it from Dr. Bruce Lipton's book, The Biology of Belief, I was so lucky I found that book. Actually, many people come to us from Dr. Bruce Lipton's book. And so I would say that if they're hearing this, and they're tuning into radio and they just got this one and they're listening, this is not the one that you want to just let go and say, oh, everybody talks about my program is the best, my seminar is the best. I'm not saying mine is the best. I'm saying this is the most important missing piece that can make everything else work for them that they have been trying to use.
Very good. What's that website again?
It's www.ritasoman.com. You can spell my name better than me.
And beliefmantra.com, I believe, was the other one, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, very good. Well, Rita, thank you for joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program.
Thank you so much for having me again. Appreciate that.
We want to thank you, the listeners out there, for tuning in. Again, this is the way, a tool that you can find yourself going for and achieving what it is that you want. Be sure to visit us at Beyond50Radio.com. We'll have some hot links there for you so you can find out more as well. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you again for tuning in. This is the Beyond 50 radio program, and remember, live your day past halfway.